Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I've got a very special guest. I'm at his premises, his own premises, his own business. And I'm with Daniel Flitcroft. Hi, Daniel. Now, Daniel runs his own business here in Bath, Stage2 Rehearsal Rooms.
Stage2 Studios.
Yeah. So I thought I'd have a quick chat with Daniel and see what the business is all about and the facility he's got to provide. Daniel, thanks for talking to me this morning. And just run us through the background of Stage2 and the ethos of what you've got here and what you provide.
Okay, well, I opened about 12 years ago, just over 12 years ago, because I got made redundant from the job that I was slowly dying in at the time. It was all kind of car insurance, that kind of stuff. And I wanted to do something which was something I had a passion for, which was music, because I've been in bands since I was about 16. So 25 odd years, no, 30. I can't do the maths, I'm 40 now, so work it out. And so I noticed there was a distinct lack of those facilities in Bath because the bands I was in at the time, we were travelling to Bristol and so forth. So it seemed like the logical thing for me to do, and it's just a case of finding a unit, and with the help of my friends and primarily my dad, who's very handy, we built the premises, built all the rooms within it. This was just an empty unit pretty much.
Right.
And so at the beginning it was very much just a rehearsal space, 3 rooms, you know, cafe area, that kind of stuff. We had a pool table in here at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 3 years into doing it, once I'd got it established and had a little bit of a name, I decided to incorporate recording into the studio. We had an engineer called Ben at the time, and that's it. That seemed to work really well because we were kind of bringing recording into the rehearsal space. The space was already there, and it just so happened that the spaces we'd made sound really good for recording. And so we were able to offer like industry standard recording, but at much lower rates, which means it opens it up to a bigger demographic.
Yeah.
And then Ben left after a few years. We got a new engineer in, Josh, and since then we've developed everything. We've rebuilt the room. We've invested in tons more outboard gear and mics and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And just slowly refined the studio over the years and kind of changed, you know, the equipment that we use and the service we provide to make it applicable for bands and artists. You know, what we're not trying to do is kind of offer something which isn't useful. Everything's useful here. We're very streamlined in that regard.
Yeah.
So in terms of the rehearsals, my main goal was always, I'd like it to be a kind of, if you need it, it's a plug in and play kind of place. So you just bring your instruments and we can provide pretty much everything else.
Yeah.
Without having to worry about extra costs. You know, some studios they'll charge you extra for amps and cabs and drum kits.
That is one thing we realised because our band rehearses here regularly now, and that was one big thing. Like studios we've been to before, they do put an extra cost on. Here, you know what the figure is going to be.
Yeah.
That's it, and you've got all your knowledge and the other guys who works here, you know, and we can tap into that, and that's all free. It's no.
Yeah, I mean, this place has never been about making money for me, because if it was about making money, I'd just get a job at Tesco, you know what I mean? But I want it to be open to everyone, so professionals, amateurs, people who are just beginning. And you get the odd comment sometimes from, you know, bands say, well, you know, you're charging more than this band at this studio in Bristol.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I am, but you know, it's Bristol. Their rent's probably half as much as mine, but they're also charging you for all this other stuff. So before you know it, your 30 quid rehearsal turns into 60 quid because you've added all the extra gear. And I want it to be a place where people can just, if they need an amp, 2 amps, bass amp, drum kit, mic stands, music stands, leads, whatever they want, cymbals, drum stands, you know, it's all here, and it's all relatively easy to kind of just get your head round.
Now you've got 3 rooms here.
Yep.
And varying in size.
Yep.
You've got, I can just see one here, the Studio 1.
Yep.
Which is the larger size.
That's so that
Yeah.
room doubles up as our live recording room as well.
Yeah. So you've got a back room like a.
So we've got a control room through here,
Yeah.
which is all connected. I mean, the other rooms upstairs are also connected if we need to.
Yeah.
So sometimes you want to put amps upstairs and the drums in there and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, like every recording process is different. Some bands want to record it all separately. Some bands want to all be in the room at the same time doing more of a live session.
Yeah.
So we can cater for all that. But yeah, 3 different size rooms. That's our biggest room. Slightly smaller rooms upstairs. But I mean, you know, they're all perfectly fine for 4 or 5 piece bands.
Yeah. Right. Tell me, Dan, how have you fared over the last all this COVID things? What's been going on the last year or so? How's it sort of fared with you?
Not very well, if I'm honest. I'm a sole trader, which is kind of hasn't worked to my benefit because things like the Arts Council seem to have some kind of, I'm not going to say loathing, but they have a mistrust of sole traders. So we were cut out of all the arts funding that was announced. So I know a lot of the other like venues and stuff around Bath, quite rightly benefited from it. But yeah, it was a soul destroying experience because, you know, they make you go through this rigmarole of filling out all these applications and providing all this evidence, and it's only at the very last minute they tell you, oh, you're a sole trader, you can't do it. So well, you could have told me that on the first page.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saved me 2 days of work, and that kept on going on. So, you know, I was wasting my breath and my energy applying for all these grants which I wasn't entitled to, which I just find soul destroying because I want to work for my money. You know, I want to do a hard day's graft, and filling out forms doesn't feel right to me. But so yeah, I mean, we were pretty much closed for the best part of 7 months, and even then, when we did open, because of the situation, and it's still going on now, we're at much reduced capacity because, you know, everyone keeps cancelling because someone's got COVID or someone's isolating or. So we've had to really adapt. I mean, one good thing that came out of last year is it gave me and my colleague Tim, who works there, time to reflect on, you know, the things that we're good at, the things that we're interested in. So we started a little record label, primarily focused on releasing kind of cool stuff on vinyl.
Right.
Stuff that's recorded here. Or
yeah, because vinyl is a big thing again, isn't it?
Massive. I mean, in the originals band I'm in, for the past 7 years, we've been releasing our stuff on vinyl because it's the type of music where people are still buying it. And I was just chatting to Tim, and we were of the opinion, well, I'm kind of acting as a record label anyway for my own band, so
yeah,
why not use those skills and those contacts to actually kind of do something else? So that's what we've been doing, and we're at the point now where we're developing a bit of a name, you know, getting a loyal following. So there might come a point where that becomes more of a part of the business, because, you know, as you know, if you're self-employed, you kind of have to have, you know, 3, 4, 5 strings to your bow at any one time.
Yeah.
So another thing, like at the studio, what we'll do is we'll do hen parties and kids parties.
Oh, right.
You know, where we do, you can have like 15 to 20 hens in the building, doing karaoke, recording a song with our engineer. It's great, you know, they love it. And obviously last year was due to be our busiest year for that. We had like 10 or 11 bookings in the summer.
Right.
And because COVID hit, I had to refund all those deposits, and that killed me.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's something that we're looking to, hopefully, when things do get back to some kind of normality, that's going to continue. And the recording did well last year as well, because we were still able to record some artists, because they can, to an extent, be isolated from us. We can have them in one room and have everything sanitized and social distancing and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's the rehearsal side of the business which really suffered, because you can't socially distance.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a rehearsal room, it's just not possible.
So, if somebody came to you and said, right, we want to record a song, you know, something which I wanted to do for years, never got around to it.
Yeah.
They can pick up the phone or contact you through the website, and they can say, give me a price on what it would cost for this, and you can give them a fixed amount of what it would cost. Yeah, am I right in saying that? Or
to an extent. I mean, it's funny because we've done a few projects recently where we've had people who've had no studio experience, no musical experience really, but they think they've got a talent, or they think they've got a song, or they've got some lyrics, but they don't know how to write their music. They don't know. So we've had a few projects in where someone's literally come in and hummed a tune, and we've built a song up around it. Now it's a little bit harder to give someone a price on something like that, because it's like, how long is a piece of string sometimes? Because if somebody wants something that's very stripped back, like a kind of Ed Sheeran style acoustic number with very minimal instruments, yeah, you could probably say, you know what, I think we could do that in a day, probably get it all mixed and mastered for you.
Right.
If someone wants something grandiose with strings and you know, and maybe they want us to bring, because we've got an array of session players that we use, like drummers and violin players and all this kind of stuff, classical pianists and saxophone players, that kind of thing. Then you know, then we have to start talking about, you know, well, okay, we need a bit of a bigger budget for this. So it's kind of, recording's always been a bit difficult in the sense that you do have to be honest with the people and say, well, what is it you want to get out of this? Do you want something that you want to be able to hear on Radio 1? You know, do you want something that's that kind of slick, kind of sweetly produced thing, or do you want something that's a bit more raw, more of a kind of, you know, a live take on the band? So we'll always try and say to most bands when we get these kind of queries, is just come in, have a chat with me and the engineer, free of course, no obligation, because we'd rather kind of, if we don't think we're the right studio for them, or we think that, you know what, I think we're not right for you, you should go, we'll send them elsewhere. We're happy to do that. Okay. Because we'd rather not take their money if we think that what we can provide them is not correct for them. I mean, sometimes, you know, some people would benefit more from going to someone who's studying music at university, who needs experience and is doing something in their bedroom. Some people would benefit more from that. And probably get more for their money. But yeah, I mean, generally, I mean, it's what we say to young bands is that if you want to record a song, generally we'd say spend at least a day recording it and then give us half a day to mix it. Right. So you can kind of give them a roundabout figure within about, I don't know, 30 or 40 quid, you know. Yeah, mix and match what they want. I'm not talking a lot of money, really. No. Back in the day, like, you know, studios, when I first started playing in bands, studios were a minimum of about 300-400 quid a day. Yeah, I remember those times. You know, and that's 1998 when I started. We don't charge anywhere near that now. You know, the studio music industry has gone backwards. People value it less now, even though the tools that we have are a lot superior to what we had back then, because obviously everything was run on tape or DAT. Yeah, I understand that. You know, but yeah, I mean, it's everything's kind of different, but we are more streamlined, so we can offer things at a much more reduced rate. Now, we are in Bath, and I would have thought, because it's not I don't understand the business fully, but I would have thought you've got university on your doorstep, you can tap into all that young talent, and they'd be banging at the door to come in and use the facilities. So tell me, why isn't there more people from the university using this place? Well, firstly, the universities have tons of money, so they've built a lot of their own facilities. Right. So I think both universities in Bath, I think they've got their own rehearsal rooms and recording facilities, which is great, you know. And we do get quite a lot of students coming to use us as well. In fact, I had a band in yesterday who I think they were due to play a show at their university last night and couldn't get into their own facilities. Right. And obviously you know, not disparaging their facilities, but sometimes I think they have issues with gear being abused or going missing and stuff like that. So whereas it's a lot more consistent here. So yeah, we do get quite a fair number of people from the universities, but I'm sad to kind of inform you that the amount of bands coming through is so much less than it was a couple of years ago. Really? There's much less bands now. But yeah, so there are less bands actually about now. So like I said, part of it's COVID, part of it's lockdown, part of it's, you know, social anxiety, that kind of thing. Yeah. Part of it is the Ed Sheeran effect, where everyone wants to be a YouTuber. Yeah. Or a solo artist. They want to be, you know, they want to be a solo singer. or there's just a drummer who has no intention of being a band, but they just want to show off on YouTube, which is fine, you know. For some reason, I think we're going through. I think we're at the bottom of a dip at the moment. 12 years ago, we were coming off a big high because you had stuff like School of Rock, the film, which got all the kids wanting to be in bands.
Yeah.
You had Guitar Hero, the game, that got people interested in guitar music again. And guitar music was still there around in the mainstream. I mean, could you name a single top 10 single guitar driven?
No, not now.
In the last 10 years?
No.
I couldn't.
No.
You know, there's a few bands here and there. Idols are doing quite well.
Yeah.
But it's not exactly. They're not exactly mainstream. You know.
How about you say that? How about the likes of the programs like Top of the Pops? You know, and I don't want to sound cheesy, but back in the day, Top of the Pops every week was on, and you had bands clambering at the station to try and get in to make their, and there was a lot of names coming out. Now, what is there like to funnel that talent? And or I suppose you've got things like Britain's Got Talent, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Britain's Got Talent. You know, there's a place for it. People like it.
Yeah.
That's not part of the music industry.
No,
it's not. You know, people complain about Britain's Got Talent, X Factor, and all this kind of stuff. I just don't count it as part of the music industry because it's like buying a bottle of Coke. It's no different. It's no different to McDonald's. It's just, I mean, the internet has ruined everything.
right.
I'll be completely honest. Right, as soon as Napster came out, music got devalued, and so people place no value in some people do, but most people place no value in music because it wasn't worth anything anymore. So, you know, HMV used to sell a CD for 15 quid. Now they'll sell it for 6 quid and barely sell any. Because what's the point? Because I get it on Spotify. Yeah. I get it on iTunes. The albums have died because people shuffle their music. They have playlists. Yeah. They don't listen to a whole album. So that's one part of the internet which is completely screwed the music industry. The other part of the internet is social media because, again, when I started playing in bands in the late 90s, I didn't have to worry about someone filming me and putting it up on YouTube. Yeah. And embarrassing me for the rest of the time. Yeah. Because I did ridiculously embarrassing stuff when I was 17, 18. You know, I you know, off my head, pissed, high on stage, falling over, you know, and stuff I can't mention. But thank God no one was filming that. Yeah. Because some of the advice that I give to young bands here who come in, and we do have some young bands, it's just a lot less of them. But the really young bands, obviously, we're keen to kind of encourage them, and you know, because that's the next generation. Yeah, of course. And part of the advice I say to them is, look, you're gonna be shit for quite a while. Yeah. Because you have to be. Yeah. When you start, we're all shit.
You've got to be able to take it, haven't you, and think that. Yeah.
You have to come into, you know, when it comes to gigging and getting your feet dirty, you have to kind of have a bit of awareness that you're gonna suck for quite a while, and the object of being in a band and rehearsing and coming in every week and gigging and recording and gigging and writing, and you know, it's not to get better. That's not the object is to become less shit, right? Because you'll find bands, you know, and they're young, so there's loads of potential there. But if you were to be objective, you say, yeah, it's not, you're not good. But and the songs aren't good. They're rudimentary. They're kind of obvious. But if you keep coming in, you keep rehearsing, and you keep working on your songs, and you keep gigging, you kind of start polishing the edges off. And so after maybe, like, I don't know, 6 months, you're kind of well-rehearsed shit. But then things start rubbing off. It's like anything, you know, photography and video. You start to refine your edges and start kind of dotting the I's and crossing the T's. And once you actually become really tight, kind of, you know, you've got a kind of tight sound, it's amazing how quickly these bands suddenly develop their own voice, and they develop their own kind of place in the world, and that's where you think, yes, now you get it. But you have to go through that gestation period.
Get that, learn the craft, and
you have to play the shitholes. You have to go and play in the venues which, you know, you've got one toilet that looks like a bomb shelter, you know. But the trouble is, a lot of these youngsters who are coming through, especially the ones who watch Britain's Got Talent and X Factor, they want to miss that whole bit out. They want to skip that and go straight to having this beautifully orchestrated video on YouTube. And yeah, to a certain extent they can do that, but it needs a lot of editing. Needs a lot. They all rely on auto-tune now. Every single song you hear on the radio has auto-tune on it. They're not even trying to mask it now. They're actually using it as an effect. So what that says to me is you've got a whole generation of pop stars who can't sing. They can't.
Okay.
But you know, there are some who are brilliant.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting outlook on it.
I know. I sound really negative.
No, you're not negative, and I don't think it's cynical. I think well, you've got to speak how it is. I mean, you're in amongst it, and you're seeing what's happening. You know.
I'll tell you what's interesting, right? Is I said we do these kids parties down here, so we get like 9, 10, 11-year-old kids, and they're great and they love it and they're well into it. And the really interesting thing is, a lot of them have developed this singing voice, which sounds like they're singing with auto-tune. Yeah. It's really weird. Yeah. But they don't know any different. No. So they've been brought up on this pop music, Little Mix and, you know, I don't know, Jessie J, whatever they're listening to. They've been brought up to think that's a human voice. Yeah. So I actually, on a positive note, I think we're coming out the other end. I think we're at the bottom of a dip. I think we're coming out the other end where there's a craving from everyone, adults and kids alike. There's a craving for reality, and I think they want something that's real and something that's dangerous. Yeah. Because it's all been sucked out of the music industry, and obviously that's what we're trying to impart on youngsters. Is you need to introduce that element of risk into your life, into your music. Yeah. Because that's where the interesting stuff happens. If you try and wrap yourself in cotton wool, and you're playing to backing tracks, and you know everything's kind of on a grid. Yeah. There's no danger, and people are bored of it. Yeah. Totally bored of it.
Yeah. That's interesting. We've covered quite a lot. What's the plans for the future then, Dan? How do you see the next 6 months?
I mean, we just have to. We have to be flexible with the times. I think the future for me is going to be dictated by what the culture is.
Okay. Yeah.
So if there is going to be a resurgence in bands, then we move towards that. We move towards working with bands. If it's more solo artists, you know, there's no point me trying to kind of dictate how things are going to happen. It's impossible to know really. But I mean, in terms of the studio, we've survived lockdown. If we can survive that, we'll survive anything. So yeah, it's about just being as diverse as we can, and obviously, like I said to you earlier, we're open to everyone. So
yeah, but what I was going to say is the equipment here. You go to a lot of rehearsal rooms, like you said earlier, and the equipment's hanging. It's been, you know, blown a speaker or whatever. But the equipment here, I said to you the other day, is pretty much tip top. And if there is something wrong and it gets reported to you, you put it right.
Things go wrong, don't they? And that's life. Yeah. But I mean, my dad brought me up to say, you know, if you buy crap, you buy twice, don't you? Yeah. Yeah. So I'd rather spend money on it, like, you know, the PA systems in particular. They're all brand new last year. Simply because I was so bored of just replacing speakers and amps and costing so. Yeah. I was just like, you know what, I need something that's going to be robust enough that whatever you're going to chuck at it, yeah, it's going to survive, you know. Yeah,
I mean, it is one of those places that, and perhaps we're to blame as well, but when you come in, if you don't know how to use the equipment, you can do a bit of damage, you know.
Yeah, that comes with the territory, doesn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, look, it's been great talking to you, Dan. Thanks for taking the time out just to have a chat, and I'll put the address and the website on the end of the video. And Stage 2, Brass Mill Lane Trading Estate, Bath?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the postcode here?
BA1 3JN.
3JN. So everybody look it up and take a look, and if there's a song you want to record or you want to just come in and get some singing skills, then this is the place in Bath. Stage 2.